Jim, can I just get a fitness update on Declan and Scott?
Yeah, obviously that was a good performance the other day at Arbroath and another important win. But the disappointment was obviously those two guys limping off. Gallagher has been carrying this groin issue for the best part of a month now, and he's been trying to just soldier on and get through it. But I think against Arbroath on Tuesday, he's tweaked it again, and it looks as if it's done a little bit more damage to it. So he's going to be a major doubt for Saturday. And obviously Scott McMahon, the wrong end of a poor tackle, and rolled his ankle, and he's got plenty of bruising and swelling around about the area. So another key player for us that is going to be a big question mark around for Saturday as well. So we have those two added to Ross Docherty and Archie Meekison, who's already out. So we've got some important players missing for the weekend, but opportunities there for other members of the squad to go and step in.
In terms of Declan and Scott, I mean, obviously you're referencing this game that's coming up. Do you have any concerns that one or both could be longer term?
No, Scott McMahon's one won't be a long term, and he's still he's 50-50 for Saturday, and Scott being the type of character that he is, if he's 50-50, then he'll no doubt want to play. But Declan's slightly different. The bruising on a bone is one thing you can get through because you're not going to do it any more damage. But when it's a muscle injury like Gal's, then that's different and has to be managed differently. Both those players have been instrumental to the great defensive record that we have in the league at the moment. But I'm very lucky if Gallagher is to miss out. Ross Graham came on against Arbroath on Tuesday and was immense. Settled into the position really well alongside Kevin Holt. So as I said, that's why we've got a squad. There's plenty of other managers out there with similar problems to ourselves at the moment. We just have to mix things up a little bit maybe, and hopefully get a strong team on the park to do the job on Saturday.
You mentioned the great defensive record. I mean, when you look at the stats, they are fantastic from a Dundee United point of view. Just the defensive record, you're scoring goals, you've only lost one game. I guess in any other championship season, this would be a Dundee United team that would be streaking clear at the top, but you're not. Wraith are obviously up there at the moment. I mean, is that a source of frustration when you look at these incredible stats that you're pulling together, yet there's still a team above you?
Yeah, listen, I think it's very entertaining for the league, and I think it shows the high quality and the great performances that Wraith Rovers have managed to put in as well. I think it's it's good for the competition. Of course, I'd love to be 10-15 points clear at the top, and things to be a lot easier, but I do think it's makes the whole thing more exciting and more entertaining for everybody to be a part of. I think in other seasons gone by, I think the average points total to win the league is kind of mid-60s. We're sitting on 41, I think, already, only halfway through the season. So, I would imagine it's going to take a lot more than that this season to get the job done. But look, we've just got to focus on what we can do. As you said there, we've only lost one game in 18. 7 goals conceded in that time. I think it'd be hard pushed to find another team out there in any league, and let alone UK, probably Europe, that's got a better defensive record at the halfway point in the season, and scoring goals as well. So we're very, very pleased. We're satisfied with what we're doing right now. As it stands, we're playing well, but we are only at that halfway point. We have to make sure we keep pushing, keep trying to improve daily on the training pitch, and we've got to keep picking up those results, because it doesn't look like Wraith Rovers are going to go away anytime soon.
And you mentioned at the halfway point, you've played half your games, you've just ticked into a new year. Just generally, how do you assess how you're placed at the moment?
Look, I think we are probably where everybody would expect us to be. I think I said that a few weeks ago. Of course, we'd love to be top of the league, but credit to Wraith. Okay, they've got a game in hand on us at the moment, and if we were to win that game, then we would go back onto the top of the table. But I think it's been a really good first half of the campaign. I think the goals, I think we've scored the most goals in the league. As I said, we've got the best defensive record. We've got so many academy graduates playing regularly within the first team, which is a big thing for our club because of the investment that we make within the academy. And some of those players, like Kai Fothering, for instance, has been a real key player for us, one of our top goal scorers. So yeah, I mean, look, we're very satisfied with what we've done up to now. I still think there's more to come from the group. I still think we can continue to try and improve, and we have to maintain what we're doing right now in the second half of the campaign.
obviously the transfer window's now open. Despite all the good things we've been talking about, how much business are you looking to do in this window, and in terms of both coming in and going out?
Yeah, I mean, every window we go into, we want to try and make sure that we're that little bit stronger coming out the other side of it. There are one or two players within the squad who are available to go out, and those players know who they are. And then in terms of trying to strengthen, we're in a position to do some business if the right players become available. I would expect us to have at least one, possibly two new faces in by the end of the month, and I think that's important. I think it's good for the squad when these new players come in. It freshens things up, more competition for places, and it hopefully be a strong enough squad then to get us over the line.
Yeah, I've been linked with David Wallace, he's obviously a free agent come the middle of this month. Is he somebody that you've been looking at?
Listen, he's a player I've always admired. When he was at St Johnstone, he was a crucial player for them. A bit of a challenging season last term with one or two little injuries, but he's proven his fitness up at Inverness, scored some important goals for them as well. But I'm not at liberty to speak about that one, to be honest, because he is still contracted to Inverness, but he's certainly a player that we admire.
Just a final one for me while I'm talking. I'm just away from Dundee United, just a kind of bigger picture of Scottish football. Thankfully, in the Championship, it's a VAR free zone. But obviously, you have had experience of it. It's back in the news again at the moment after what happened in the Old Firm game. Maybe it's something you don't want to get involved in. I just wondering, do you think the audio of these decisions should be made public?
Listen, it's not something that affects us, as you said. I don't want to try and dodge the question, but I've got myself into trouble in the past for interfering with things that are probably none of my business. So, listen, there's been one or two decisions that have went against us this year that had there been VAR, then we might have had a few more points on the board, because there's certainly a penalty at hand, and we feel we should have had against Queen's Park in the 0-0. But look, it's not something that I'm overly concerned about. I have enjoyed not having that distraction, not having those stoppages in play in the Championship has actually been quite a breath of fresh air, to be honest with you. And I think I'll try and swerve it a little bit and let the Premier League managers make comments on what they feel is right and what's wrong, because it's not something that concerns us.
Very wise.
Thank you.
Jim, obviously Tyson mentioned David Wotherspoon. Another name that's been kicking about, Simon Murray, that's obviously from the area. Is it the striking end of the pitch you're looking at, or now with Louis and everyone else back in the goals, Tony Watt and Glenn back in the goals, it's actually elsewhere, maybe more injury cover that you're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, look, we just want to strengthen the squad. I think attacking options is something that we have lacked on a few occasions this season. And I think even the Queen's Park game where we draw 0-0, we had 4 defenders and a sub-goalkeeper on the bench. And, I think defensively we've been solid. We've got one or two players who can play a number of positions if needed. So I don't think we need to strengthen that particular department. I do think the attacking options is what we're looking to try and add to, and it's not to replace anybody that's in the team at the moment. It's simply just to keep everybody on their toes, and just more options for me at moments in games if we feel that we need to change things up. So it's certainly in the attacking areas that we're looking at.
Yeah, one thing I was going to ask as well, obviously as a Montrose fan, Miller has been doing exceptionally well. Not that I want to see him out of the club and they'll hate me for this, but is he one that you might look to recall just to bring in, because he has been playing exceptionally well? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, look, Miller Thompson's had a really good, successful loan spell, and I'm grateful to the guys at Montrose for trusting in him and believing in him and giving him the valuable minutes that he's desperately needed. And he's a player I really like, and I'm delighted that the loan has been as successful as what it was. And all the reports that we got back have been really, really positive. And with that said, we are going to recall him because, again, he's another good prospect coming through our academy. And, we want to try and now integrate him back into the first team, similar to what we've done with Kai Fotheringham last season. And, try and get Miller some minutes between now and the end of the season, in the hope that come next summer that he's ready to become a first team player for Dundee United.
Going to the game at the weekend, we were just discussing before you came in, Morton a few weeks ago literally were a very different proposition, bottom of the table, struggling. they've really turned it around in tremendous fashion. I think 5 wins out of the last 7, albeit one of them in the cup, and a very different Morton is going to be coming here than perhaps visited earlier this season and gave you a tough game.
Yeah, I'm delighted for Dougie Imrie, ex-teammate of mine, and Andy Milne is there as well, ex-assistant manager of mine. So, pleased for those two, because I know they were under a little bit of pressure maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, but unbeaten in 6 in the league. I think 4 wins and a couple of draws. Very well organised team, lots of good experienced players within the ranks, players who I know and I've worked closely with in the past, the likes of Alan Power and Broadfoot and Callum Waters and one or two others. So we know what we're going to be up against on Saturday. They're a very aggressive, physical team. We're going to have to win all of our individual battles on Saturday. And if we can play to the levels that we've played at in recent weeks, then we give ourselves a good chance of winning the game. But it's certainly not going to be easy.
Last one from me, and apologies if it's been covered recently or I'm in a position of total ignorance, but Sadat Anaku, is he anywhere towards coming back to be available for Dundee United?
No, it's been a really difficult journey for Sadat with the injury. He's nowhere near a return to play at the moment, and he's actually going to be seeing a specialist again in a couple of weeks just to see how we can move this along. It'll be very frustrating for him. He's a great lad. He's got a really good positive attitude towards the injury, and he's desperate to try and get back, but impossible for me to put a time frame on when we might see him again.
Jim, in your win at Arbroath, you had a huge support cheering you on, sold out away support. As we know, it's shaping up to be possibly a very close title fight. What difference can the fans and that level of backing make?
Listen, the supporters have been different class since I've came to the club, and this season in particular. Our attendances here at Tannadice have been remarkable, given the situation and what happened last season. But on the road there on Tuesday, to have over 3,000 at Arbroath was a credit to them. And I think Louis Moult spoke about it after the game. Louis had been going through that little bit of a barren spell in front of goal, and he'd missed an opportunity out here against Partick, I think it was. But the fans never got on his back. He spoke about them singing his song for him, which gave him a great lift and gave him a boost and helped his confidence. And I think that's the positive impact that the supporters can have. We are very grateful to them. They do play a big part for us. They generate a great atmosphere both home and away, and the players have certainly fed off that this season. So hope for another good turnout on Saturday against a difficult Morton team.
How pleasing has it been to have Louis Moult and Glenn Middleton and Tony Watt all being back in the goals all at this time?
Well, I think a lot was made of the couple of games where we, went without scoring. The game here against Wraith was, very little in the game, and but for an incredible individual strike from Dylan Easton, the game probably should have finished 0-0. At Hampden against Queen's Park, we created so many opportunities, more probably opportunities in that game against Queen's Park than what we did in some of the games where we scored 4 and 5 goals. But every team can go through those little difficult moments. I think you find out a lot about the characters of the people involved at those particular times. We hadn't really had to face a great deal of adversity this season in the league, and it's very easy for guys to feel sorry for themselves and to drop their confidence. But I think the likes of Moult and Tony Watt and Glenn Middleton, Kai Fotheringham, they all deserve huge credit, because the hardest thing to do in this game is to create goals and is to score goals. Defensively, we've got lots of plaudits for how well organised and how well set up the team has been, and their discipline out of possession. But not having to rely on one individual, I think, has been really important this year. Kai Fotheringham got 10. I think that's Moulty now on 10 for the season. Tony's on 6 or 7. Kevin Holt has chipped in with a few important goals as well. So I think the fact that we've been able to spread out that goal scoring is really important, and I think that'll be crucial between now and the end of the season.
Rory McLeod's already back. Miller Thompson, who just said, is coming back. Are any of your other loanees, as I say, in your mind at the moment because of how they've been performing out on loan?
Rory had a bit of a difficult spell at Forfar, and we didn't feel both clubs felt it was probably in everybody's best interest that Rory comes back to us, and you know, I'd much rather him being a part of my squad and being sat on my bench at the weekend as opposed to, you know, sat on the bench for Forfar. So that was the reason behind bringing Rory back. Miller Thompson's had a hugely successful loan period. He knows how much I think of him as a player. I love his attitude. Very similar to Clive Fotheringham, and will be another good attacking option for us, a player who can play in numerous different positions. And Lewis O'Donnell is probably the other one who deserves a mention as well. He's out of Kelty at the moment. Central midfielder, technically very, very good, very comfortable on the ball, and I think probably between now and the end of the season it's in Lewis's best interests to stay there and to keep playing and getting regular minutes, because it's not something I can guarantee him here. Once we've got everybody back fit, you know, we'll have a very strong competitive midfield with the likes of Docherty coming back, Meekison coming back, Glass, Mockery, Tilson and Sibbald. So I think it's in Lewis's best interest to stay out and keep developing and keep learning the game. Yeah, so I think that's where we're at.
Craig, just give us your thoughts going into another huge game.
Another tough game. They've been doing really good the last 6 games, so it'll be a tough game. It always is against Greenock Morton, so we'll be needing to prepare right for it. And the gaffer's been on at us the last couple of days, and he's just saying how tough it'll be, and you know they're physical and that, so we'll need to be prepared.
Obviously, we've ticked into a new year now. You've played half the games that you will, but I'm just wondering, how would you assess the title race, where things are at for Dundee United at the moment?
We're just focusing on ourselves. It's going quite good for ourselves. Only 1 defeat, so we've got to look at the positives. Like the gaffer said, we've got a good defensive record, so just focus on ourselves and see where it takes us.
You mentioned the defensive record. I mean, you've lost 1 game. You've only conceded, I think it is 7 goals, which is quite remarkable. You've been scoring a lot of goals yourself. Is it frustrating? I mean, in any other season, I guess that's the kind of record that would see you way clear at the top of the table, but you're not Wraith are really pushing you all the way. Is that a source of frustration?
No, it's fair play to Wraith. They've been doing good as well, and we just need to keep up doing what we're doing as well, and hopefully by the end of the season we'll create a gap and we can be right up there at the top. I
mean, some of those statistics that are reeled off there, I mean, when you take a step back and you have a look at them, do you feel like you're part of something quite special at the moment? Aye,
definitely. It's enjoyable to play every week with the boys in the team, and everyone's working hard for each other, so definitely it's enjoyable, and like you said, we're scoring goals and that, so you can't ask for much more.
And you keep doing what you're doing. I guess the feeling must be amongst the group is that eventually you'll end up where you feel that all those statistics should have you, which is the top of the pile.
Yeah, if we keep doing everything right, and like you said, the statistics, we'll hopefully kind of be on the right end of the table by the end of the season.
Craig, the manager, the manager praised your consistency quite recently. How would you personally assess your season? How you believe you fared?
Yeah, I feel like I've been quite consistent. I'm kind of one of the more experienced players now, so I need to bring that to my game, and I've been quite happy with the way I've been performing, so hopefully that just continue that.
Sometimes a player and a club fit kind of hand in glove. It seems to be a very, very good fit for you here. What makes you feel so at home at Dundee United?
The fans. The fans are always really supportive of me. They always praise me well, so that's a good starting block, and the manager believes in me, and I get played every week, so gives you belief on a Saturday, and hopefully I repay that with my performances.
Absolutely. Now, I know you've been asked about this in the recent past, about a 1-year extension. Have you triggered that yet?
It's been triggered, but it's not been spoke about, like terms or when it'll come about, so I'll just leave that to my agent, and I'll just focus on the pitch.
So you're just happy just going out there and leaving everything on the pitch for Dundee United and let the others deal with whatever may be?
That's why I've got an agent, so he can sort it out.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is a thrilling title race, as Tyrone already touched upon. Do you feel that can really bring out the best in you and your team?
Exactly that. Like you said, it's kind of neck and neck now, so that's what you want. You want good competition, so it'll feel that bit better if you do go on to win it, so hopefully we can do that.
Last time out against Morton here, a 1-1 draw, very competitive game. They're in good form at the moment, just six without loss in the league. I guess that gives you an indication as to how tough a test you face at the weekend.
It's not going to be easy. I know quite a few of their players as well, and they're good players. So, like you said, the last time it was 1-1, it was a fight. So we'll need to be up for the fight again, and hopefully this time we can get the 3 points.
Thank you.
Craig, I was just going to jump one in there, cover it all. I always think even when I go back to your days when you were at Livy and Craig Sibbald was allowed to play Craig Sibbald football, but as you say, you're a more experienced player now. Are you enjoying the fact you've got a bit more responsibility, particularly without Docherty in the team? And actually, people are seeing how much of a good footballer you are as well. You'd have been man of the match probably in the last couple of games that haven't been for the strikers scoring the goals that they did.
I am loving it. I like the responsibility, and I like playing centre mid. You get more of the ball, so I've just kind of taken it on my stride and try and help the players around me, and hopefully that brings us to where we want to be at the end of the season.
Is that the kind of thing that you think about individually as a football player? Because you know how good a football player you are in your head, and sometimes the role that you're asked to play in a team by any particular manager doesn't always showcase what you want to in your skills, because they're always thinking, oh, Craig's character, his resilience, his kind of tenacity, but you are showing that kind of range of passing and that kind of creative side.
You've got to kind of be versatile, I think, in any team. So I've tried to just kind of switch up my game. Even at Livingston, I kind of changed my game there. So you've got to be versatile, and hopefully that's helping the team here.
Well, good luck for the weekend.
Thank you.
Just one from me. Only one defeat all season. Least conceded goals in Scottish football at 7. Is it disappointing that you're not top of the league at this point, or is that just a credit to how competitive the league is?
It's very competitive, and it is a credit to the league, like you said. And like I said before, you just need to focus on ourselves, and hopefully we'll get to the top of the league by focusing on ourselves and keep winning games. And that's it really.
Are the players disappointed not to be at the top of the league?
We've not really spoke about it, to be honest. We just take each game each week, and we'll kind of focus on that near the end of the season.